Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for all that you've done, all that you will do. I pray that today you help us to be patient. I pray that you help us to be diligent. I pray that you help us to wait on you. And I pray that you help us to make the most of each of our days. Lord, give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding needed to serve your people in a way that pleases you and blesses them. I pray that you think through me and speak through me right now. And I pray that what is said is a blessing to all those that listen. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of A King's Journal. This is episode number 15. 15 episodes. Getting close to half a year. This will be pretty cool. So today, I don't think this is going to be a very long episode, but it's titled Win the Day. And I know you've probably heard a lot about winning the day. And I'm going to say a few things that you might have heard before, and that I've said one part of it last week. But this episode is really important because there was one point that I touched on last week in terms of dancing in the rain and talking about perseverance and like working while you wait. And this week I was having this conversation with a guy, he's a psychologist, his name is Dr. D. We've connected on Instagram, and he was telling me about, I was asking him about how he's doing. He said he was doing good. I asked him about what he's got planned for 2023, because we're getting close to the new year. He said he's got a few things coming up. He's got 2 podcasts that he was on. He's looking to make one on his own, and I'm like, yo, that's really cool, dope. And then he was asking me, like, what are you doing? Like, what is your 2023 looking like right now? What are you planning? What do you got in the works? And so I said, there's a few things that I've been working on. There's a few things that I've been challenged with, but I've got plans for 2023, and I've got some things that I'm trying to accomplish. And, I listed some things, and he said, man, yep, you got some work to do. And I said, yeah. We was talking about we both got some work to do in 2023. But one crazy thing that he said, which hit me like a ton of bricks, he said, Godspeed, young man. And I thought about it for a second, because when I was talking to him, sending the messages, and I told him what he said that in response to, I was talking about working on certain things. And so he was like, Godspeed, to I guess speed up the process of getting those things done or accomplished. But when I read it, it was funny to me immediately, because what I've realized is that Godspeed typically isn't as fast as what I would like it to be. Just because Godspeed is Godspeed. It's not yours. It's not mine. In Martell speed, I would say, I want this thing and I want it by tomorrow. In Godspeed, it could be, you're not ready for that thing. There's a lot that you have to go through. There's a lot of nights. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of people that you haven't met yet. There's a lot of character issues right now that have to be overcome so that you can be prepared to receive that thing. Because if you received it early, you'd be destroyed by it. So when he said Godspeed, I was laughing. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, because it just completely over this past year, that phrase, just saying that, has completely changed. The meaning has completely changed for me, because it doesn't necessarily mean super fast. It often means patience. It often means diligence. But that brings me to this story. So I was on Instagram the other day, and I heard this dude. He was telling this story about this Chinese bamboo tree. I recently learned some new information about this tree, and everything else is a lie about this tree. But I'm gonna tell this story how I heard it, and then I'll give it some context a little bit later. But so this Chinese bamboo tree, and I'm sure if you've listened to any motivation before, and I'm not a motivational speaker, don't let anybody tell you that, but If you've heard anything, if you've heard this story before, you've probably heard this story before if you've ever listened to any sort of motivational anything. Les Brown talked about it before. And I think E.T. did at one point too. But so this Chinese bamboo tree, it takes 5 years to grow. And so in order for it to grow, it needs to be watered and nurtured every single day for those 5 years. But the crazy thing about the tree, you put the seed in the ground and you water it every single day. You water it, give it the fertilizer and everything every day. But it's not going to break the surface until the 5 years. So you will have to water this thing consistently every day, going out to this spot where you know you've planted a seed. You'll have to go out to this spot and continuously water it and fertilize it, but you won't see anything. It's going to be doing things. It's going to be doing things in the ground. It's going to be the roots are going to get deeper and deeper and deeper into the ground, but it's not going to break the surface so that you can see it until after 5 years. And then after 5 years, it can grow up to 90 feet within 5 weeks. Think about that. Think about working on something every single day for 5 years, and you don't see nothing. There's things being developed, but you don't see no results of it for 5 years. And at the 5th year, it only takes 5 weeks, means a month and a week, for this thing to grow up to 90 feet tall. I think when we talk about waiting on God, when we talk about like what that looks like and what that means, I think waiting on God requires that you are diligent in the present day, because you can't really get to the results. You can't really see the harvest of the work without diligence. It's crazy, because I was having a conversation with a friend who's also a pastor not too long ago, and he was saying that, yeah, no, we always, there's a song called Wait on You. It's a really good song, Maverick City Music, and you hear all this stuff about waiting on God, but one part of that people typically miss is that when you wait on God, that doesn't mean to not be working. It doesn't mean to stop. When you wait on God, you have to be diligent in the days, because each day counts. Each day counts. And so in order to wait on God and get the harvest of what you're waiting for, you ask for something, and then you're not just a hearer of the word, but you're a doer. So you get to work, and you're not worried about what's happening tomorrow or down the line, but you are working every single day and expecting God to do exactly what he said. That's faith. Faith is a present thing. Faith isn't a tomorrow thing or a yesterday thing. Faith is right now. So you've asked, you have faith for it, and you're working on it. But you believe, you truly, truly believe without any doubt that this thing that you prayed for is going to happen if you just keep moving every single day. That's what waiting on God really is. So to break this thing down, okay, I'm gonna put three scriptures together. They sound, when you read them, they kind of sound like they go together. The Bible doesn't contradict itself. All the scriptures work together. So Genesis 8:22 is where I'm going to start, and I'm going to tell you the other ones as I go through them. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty, only want. So that was Genesis 8:22, then Matthew 6:34, and then Proverbs 21:5. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. Seed time and harvest, meaning you plant something, you sow a seed, and then over time, there's going to be a harvest of whatever you sowed. Now, quite literally, we have, people plant seeds in the ground to, grow fruit, grow all sorts of plant food, that kind of stuff. But if you work, you're sowing. If you pray, you've sown. If you snap on somebody, you've sown. Every time you act or you react, you are sowing a seed. And over time, that seed is going to reap some sort of harvest. So what are you harvesting? What are you reaping? If I'm putting out a bunch of negative energy, if I'm talking down on everybody, if I'm always just walking over people and I'm always telling people about how bad they are and I'm always just being negative, then I will have to, because this is a principle that is not going to cease until there is no more day or night, until there is no more summer or winter, until there is no earth. This thing will happen. But don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Like I said before, faith is a today thing. And in order to receive, in order to get that harvest, that thing that you've prayed for, and truly and wait on God in the way that God has wanted or designed for you to be waiting on Him, it means to be working in today. If you think too much about tomorrow, it most likely will make you procrastinate. And if you're worried too much about yesterday, then it might just cripple you today. The present is the only thing that we really have. It's crazy. But the thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but on everyone that is hasty only want. That's the planting the seed from that Chinese bamboo tree, and then expecting after 10 days that it's going to sprout the tree, and then going to you see an infomercial at night. You know, it's probably 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and there's a guy who comes on the screen and he says, "Hello everyone, today I've got a special offering for you for only $19.99. I'm going to give you special water and special fertilizer that is going to make your bamboo seed grow 90 feet in the air tonight. But this deal is limited. It's only by this, if you don't order today, if you don't order in the next 5 minutes, you're not going to receive this deal. I'm telling you, you need to call the number below. Call the number below right now. Call me right now. I'm going to give you the fertilizer and the water. This is not water that you've ever seen before. I'm telling you, this is going to make that seed grow." Then, yo silly butt, at 2 o'clock in the morning, says, oh, shoot, I got the number on the screen. You call him. You call the guy. He answers the phone. He says, "Are you ready to have your water and your fertilizer?" And then he says, "Yes, please give me the water and the fertilizer. I've been waiting a whole 10 days for this seed. What's wrong with it?" He sends you your water and your fertilizer. And then you find out that his water and his fertilizer kills your seed after another 10 days. Hey, look, I know that might have seemed exaggerated, but think about in all the different contexts, all the different situations, that thing is very much accurate. Someone is trying to convince you that a law that will not cease until the end of time ain't accurate. Seed time, harvest. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty only want. Your seed died. Now, you still ain't got that tree. All right, let me keep moving. Whoever was supposed to get that got it. I know it. I know they did. Oh, crazy thing. Now, I just recently found out that this Chinese bamboo tree. Now, this story is a really good story. But I recently found out that the Chinese bamboo tree don't take watering and fertilizing this thing every day. So, I mean, but that's something else. That's something else. But still, the principle remains. But moving on, what I want to talk about is what does it look like? How do you win the day? Like, how do you actually win the day? Because, like I said, the past is gone. The future, you don't know. It's uncertain. So today is it. Today is the most important day of your life. because tomorrow is gone, and tomorrow is not promised, and yesterday is gone. So let's win the day. So how do you win the day? First thing I would say is to prepare for it. Now, in order to prepare for it, and it's not here, it has to be the day before, or it has to be sometime before, because, you know, that's what preparation is. But if I'm preparing for it, I gotta have some sort of framework to prepare. So like, what are your priorities? What are the most important things that you need to accomplish, or what things do you need to take a step in each day that's gonna keep your life healthy in all areas? So there was a guy, he's known as the 9-to-5 millionaire. He has these pillars. It's 5 pillars. There's faith, family, fitness, finance, and freedom. And so what he does is he structures his day so that he, in some way, at some level, he accomplishes something in each one of those 5 areas each day. So if I'm planning out my day, and I'm because those are really great buckets, 3 really great columns, to make sure that you accomplish every single day. And if you do accomplish those things, then you will see, you know, growth over time in each one of those areas. And those are the most important areas to be growing in, I would say. So when planning that day, what do I need to be doing tomorrow to grow in my faith, to make sure that my family is healthy, to make sure that my fitness is taken care of, I'm staying healthy? What am I doing about my finances? How am I being diligent with my finances? And how am I working on my freedom, my future? What am I investing in today so that I can reap a harvest tomorrow? But then when you're doing that, so like I use a Google Calendar, getting practical here. I use a Google Calendar so that I block out each hour of the day. What am I going to do from this time that I wake up to this time when I'm going to go to sleep? Block out each time, each hour of that day. But now, you never can really account for everything that's going to happen because you can't see the future. So something crazy might happen that's going to blow out your schedule tomorrow. Who knows? So what I do on top of that is I set myself 3 objectives. But most importantly, I set one thing that if this day goes completely wild, as long as I've accomplished this one thing, then today will be successful. Because you don't really know. You don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like anything could happen. And anything could blow away the schedule that you've prepared so beautifully. Your calendar, you could have color coordinated it. It could look really nice. I mean, you could have accounted for lunch. It could be amazing. But anything could happen in that day that blows out your schedule completely. Or you might have put an hour for something, but it really takes 3. You didn't know that until you started getting into it. So what is the one thing that is the most important thing to accomplish in that day? Plan for it. Plan for it the day before, the Sunday before, whatever. Plan for it. Second thing, start the day on a high level. It's going to build momentum for you. I have the secret. Okay, everyone, I want you to really if you don't have your notepad out already, I need you to get your notepad out right now. I'm about to give you the formula, the enemy-proof formula, the anxiety-proof, the depression-proof formula. It's going to get you out of any funk. I promise. I promise you it will, okay? And that's a strong words. These are really strong words. Get your notepad out right now, and you can prove me wrong on this, okay? Please. This is the formula. And this is how I start my day. And if everything goes wrong, or if I'm completely just feeling terrible, this is what I'm going to do. Because this is going to get me out of whatever it is that I'm going through. First thing, I start my day with praise and worship. Now, if you ain't a believer, I'm telling you that this isn't the formula for you. And I don't know what you're going to do when the world seems like the sky is falling and the world is ending. I really don't know what you're going to do. But figure out something. But for those believers out there, I've got a formula that's going to work for you. Okay? The praise and worship. So first, what is praise and worship? Okay, I'm not going to go too much into that because that's a whole series in its own. But praise and worship, I typically start being thankful for. I name the things that I'm thankful for. I think about the things that I'm thankful for, and then I play like a song to two songs of worship, typically Maverick City Music or some Kirk Franklin. Actually, sidebar, I realized that my playlist actually has a ridiculous amount of Kirk Franklin, way more than I thought. It's either he's like featuring on it, either he produced it, or it's his song. I've got a ton of Kirk Franklin. I'm a huge, hey, shout out Kirk Franklin. If you see this, I'm a fan. But praise and worship, that means, so it's either you're going to be on your knees or you're going to be standing up with your hands up, and make sure you just get in the zone. Listen to the words of the worship music that you were really listening to, and really get into it. I mean, sing out loud. I mean, there's a few different forms of praise, but two of them is raising your hands and singing aloud. Another one is dancing. Another one is clapping. But I don't know what location you might be in. It might be somewhere that you got to be a little bit more quiet. If it's that place, then just get your hum going and raise your hands, or get down on your knees and go to the music. But if you do have more freedom, then go all out if you can. So that automatically removes you away. It changes your state, so that if you were sad, like say you did this in the middle of the day, say you were sad, say something just happened that really made you upset. It's hard to be upset. It's hard to be sad when you're talking about how great God is and how great life is. It just seems like you just can't do those things together. It just doesn't really work. I mean, if you figured it out, then you let me know. But it seems like I've never been able to have those two things at the same time. After that, prayer. I go straight into prayer. So that my prayer session, of course, that goes again. I'm thankful first, then I'm praying for everyone else and everything else. My prayer it gets to me later on in the prayer, but it starts with being thankful and then praying for everybody and everything around me that has an effect on me, or that I know, or that is of concern, or that someone else might be concerned about, or that someone else just told me some news, whatever. I'm praying for everybody else. And then I get to myself. And then when I get to myself, then that's when that faith part starts to come in. I pray about things, and I believe that they're going to happen. Now, I see that I'm definitely not going to make it through everything, so I'm going to speed up just a little bit. But first thing, praise and worship. Next thing is prayer. Then I read a chapter of the Bible a day. I go into the Word. I just read it all the way through, because, faith comes by hearing the Word, and the Word comes from Jesus. So I read the Word, and I build up my faith. And then I write down my vision. Now, this is the part where those people, those manifestors, those law of attractioners, you're going to love this. Okay, so this part, after I've done my praise and worship, my prayer, and after I've read the Word of God, then I get my notepad out and I write down my vision. And now I do this in a really particular way, because I've realized that when you think about things, or when you write down your goals in the present tense, it shifts your thinking to it's going to happen later to it's coming to me now. And when I think about it's coming to me now, then when I seek certain opportunities, when I go about working, I go at it as though I have expectation that if this isn't it, if this call isn't the opportunity, the exact thing that I asked for, then it's going to be the next one. So so I write it down. I say, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then I write down whatever. So make sure you have your goals listed out, and then take one of them, say, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then fill in the blank with your goal. That's the first part. Write those down. Make sure there's power in writing things down. After that, then I visualize it. I take a second, I sit there with whatever my notepad open, and I visualize myself, what I'd be doing, how I would be living, what it would look like, feel like, smell like, taste like, whatever. That puts me in the present tense of the goal that I just wrote down on the paper. I take a few minutes to do this so I can really see it. I gotta see it. Like, I have to walk through it. And then after that, I affirm it. So I look back at the book and I speak out loud the thing in the present tense, having accomplished it already. I know this sounds crazy, and those who are, I don't believe in nothing and nobody and everything happened by accident, you won't agree with this. You will not agree with this. But for those other people, I'm telling you, give it a shot. So if you were upset before praise and worship, you are definitely not upset about what you were upset about before. Because now you believe that you're thankful for the things that you do have. You've prayed for everybody. You have faith that whatever you're setting out to do is going to come to you. And now you're just locking it in. Now I affirm it. And so after all of these things, this is my morning routine. After this, it's almost like nothing can really stop me. You've built up enough momentum in your morning routine so that when something does happen, you're like, nope, okay, so this is the distraction from what I already affirmed. Everything that I said, everything that I prayed about is coming to me right now. So therefore, you that is trying to stop me, this obstacle that is trying to stop me, this challenge that is proving to be difficult cannot last, because the thing that I already said, the thing that I already claimed is mine and is coming to me right now. That's how I like to go into the day. Next part. Then after your morning routine, you execute. You do your best. Ecclesiastes 9:10 says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, for in the realm of the dead where you are going, there is neither working, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom. You're gonna die. Spoiler alert to those that didn't know. You ain't gonna make it out of here alive. Go at it, give it completely your best in everything that you plan to do in that day, and make sure that one thing is accomplished, and you just believe, by faith, you believe that this day's work, this seed that was sown today is going to reap a harvest. I don't know when, but it is going to reap that harvest. Last thing, end the day grateful for what was done and give yourself grace for what you were able to accomplish. You're not always going to finish everything that you put on that list to do. You're not always going to do everything in the exact time blocks that you set out on your calendar. And even if you might have set that one thing, hopefully you accomplished that, but if you didn't, you have to give yourself some grace, because if you don't, you're going to be bitter going into sleep that night, and then you're going to be bitter waking up the next day, and you're going to feel like your time was wasted. But it makes you forget that each day, just because you woke up and you were breathing, you should be thankful. Each day is a gift. Each day is a gift, no matter what you did in that day, no matter what you did or did not do in that day. Each day is a gift and something to be thankful for. Congratulations, you made it to today. That's the mentality to have. Make sure you get that one thing. Try your best to get that one thing. But then have grace for the rest. Have grace for it all. And so I'm going to stop it right here. That was WinTheDay. I hope this was helpful to somebody. The point of it is, if you're waiting on God, today is the most important day of your life. Use it wisely and don't forget to enjoy it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of A King's Journal. This has been episode number 15, WinTheDay, and I hope to see you again next week. Peace!